Welcome to Pour the Wine, It's Rom-Com Time, where we'll sip some wine and review all things rom-com on the Hallmark Channel. I'm Amy.
And I'm Gary.
And it's time to pour the wine.
And I'm on it.
Start pouring. And once again, we have a cab. We forgot to run out today. We were actually going to do, either a Chardonnay or a Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, but we got lazy and decided not to go out. That's okay.
we have a cab. We love cab.
Yes, we do.
A little BTS, as the kids say these days. That's behind the scenes for us.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
We might be empty nesters, but we do have a puppy.
Yes, we do.
I mean, she's 2, and it's kind of like having a kid because we have to make sure all of her energy is out so that she'll rest while we record.
Yes.
She was just pacing around, and we were worried she was going to
interrupt
and make some noise, but she's out now, so we're good.
Yes, she is.
Woo. All right. So last week, what did we do? We finally caught up on the way home.
Yes.
We're all caught up.
That was
What do you think so far?
You know, I wish we were reviewing this. We're not, but you know what? That's a pretty good, I like the premise of that show.
Yes, maybe next season.
We're definitely going to do it next season.
As long as they get a season 4, fingers crossed.
My fingers and toes are crossed.
It hasn't been renewed yet, but there's so much more story to tell. Stories.
Yes.
Angles they can go. It kind of reminds me of Lost, where you think, okay, maybe they've done it all, but they really haven't. There are so many more places they can go, and I really hope they get renewed. The season finale is this Friday.
Yes, and we will be ready for it.
March 7th, 2025 is the season finale of season 3 of The Way Home. I feel like I need a flow chart of timelines and family trees.
Just like Lost.
That would help me, just like Lost and Yellowstone.
Yes, and they're supposed to be answering all of our questions.
On Friday. Friday night. Stay tuned.
So make sure you watch it Friday night because you might get a spoiler alert.
We won't spoil anything.
No, we won't.
Hallmark announced their Kansas City, Missouri Hallmark Christmas experience is coming back for a second year.
Yes.
We talked about going last year, but we ended up not. So maybe we can look into it this year. The event in 2025 is going to be on weekends from November 28th through December 21st. And the immersive experience includes free events like a Christmas market, tree lighting.
That would be so cool.
It would be really cool. Card sending station and a light walk. I love Christmas lights.
Lights,
really
yes.
Cool. Yeah. And then, of course, there are exclusive ticketed events, and those tickets will go on sale in June.
Let's be ready.
Let's be ready for that. Maybe we will. We'll have to keep that in mind, and we'll keep reminding everybody on the pod.
Yes, every episode.
Every episode.
You're going to get a
reminder. The
reminder.
tickets are coming in June. Well, it's already March.
We're going to be your iPhone reminder.
Oh my gosh. You're going to be our iPhone reminder.
That's right. Well, I guess today we're reviewing The Royal We that aired on Saturday, March 1st, 2025. If you missed it, you can catch it on Hallmark Plus. This is the first of 3 brand new Royal Weekend movies. How about you drop the synopsis?
Dropping the synopsis. Here I go. When her older sister elopes with a non-royal Princess Beatrix, not Beatrice.
Yes, Beatrix. That's right.
Who has lived her life away from her royal duties, must now step in and honor the arranged marriage to a small kingdom prince. And the Royal We stars Mallory Jansen as Bee, or Princess Beatrix.
Yep.
She was in All I Need for Christmas in 2024 and Paging Mr. Darcy in 2024, which Paging Mr. Darcy was part of Lovuary. Look at you. You get to say it again. In 2024. And they were actually both on the Hallmark Channel this weekend, Friday and Saturday. I love that they do that.
Yes, me
They
too.
show the movies of the stars of the upcoming new movie
All
for
day
Saturday
long.
night.
Yep.
Fridays and Saturdays. So that was pretty cool. She was also in Her Pen Pal in 2021.
Yep.
And she was in the series Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was based on the Marvel comics, and that was on ABC. We didn't watch that one.
No, we
I'm
didn't.
not a huge superhero fan.
No, me either. Maybe some
it was
of them, but not all of them.
It was a pretty good show. I mean, I think according to the critics and the ratings. So,
well, yeah.
Charlie Carrick plays Crown Prince Desmond. He has several acting credits. One that I noticed was he was in Cedar Cove, which was a Hallmark series. He's in several episodes of that, and that aired in 2013 and 2014. That starred Andie MacDowell.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
Name sounds familiar. Yeah.
She plays Dell. Dell Landry on the way home.
Yes.
But of course, for me, she was in St. Elmo's Fire, great 80s film. So,
Yes.
there
So you're good with names. I'm good with faces.
You're good with faces. Ray Lim plays Chloe, which is Mallory's best friend.
Ooh.
And she has a lot of acting credits, none, unfortunately, that I was super familiar with, but I really liked her in this, her quirkiness.
She was very funny.
She was good in this. She was good in this. Simon Coons plays Edwin. He's Charlie's assistant, right-hand man. I don't want to use butler because not really butler, but I would say more of assistant, making sure he keeps on track as the prince.
His schedules.
He was in the 90s, actually. He was in 4 Weddings and a Funeral and The Parent Trap, the updated version of The Parent Trap.
Oh, yeah.
And I love 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant.
I don't think I've ever watched that.
You've never seen that one either?
No.
I think Andie MacDowell was in that one, too.
Man.
Yeah, actually, I think so.
How do you remember all this?
I don't know. It's a weird thing with me. I don't know. Michael Howe plays King Richmond, which is Charlie's dad. Carolyn Backhouse plays Queen Lupinia, Charlie's mom. Nicola Posner plays Princess Coralina. How did they pronounce it in there?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that, which was Mallory's sister. Simon Shackleton plays King Winston, Mallory's dad.
Winston.
And Jacinta Mulcahy, I hope I didn't butcher that too much, plays Queen Marguerite, Mallory's mom. And she was actually just in Netflix's Irish Wish in 2024 with Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, wow. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, pretty cool.
So, what were your first thoughts on this?
Oh, what did I think? Full disclosure here. When I was a little girl, my mom woke me up in the middle of the night to watch Princess Diana marry Prince. Well, he was Prince at the time.
Right.
Now he's King Charles. It was the most magical thing I'd ever seen. You know, of course, we'd learn later that it was far from perfect, far from magical. But in that moment, man, did I believe in fairy tales. So from that moment on, I've been a royal fan.
Yep.
And throwing an accent, totally sold.
I know.
Totally sold. So that's the premise behind my review. So I had high expectations for royal weekends, and this one did not disappoint. I really loved it. The chemistry, the banter, the story itself, all of it totally worked.
Yes, I agree totally.
And Mallory actually looks a little bit like Kate Middleton.
Uh-oh.
Do you know who Kate Middleton is?
Yes, I know who Kate Middleton is.
Who's Kate Middleton?
Oh, don't put me on the spot. I know who she is. I just don't know the movies. If you show me the movie.
It's not a movie thing. She's married to Prince William.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, wow. That's right. You know, I was thinking of some other actress. Sorry. Oh, my God. Who just went through.
I'm sorry.
You know.
You said, yes, I know who she is.
Yes, I do know who Kate Middleton is. Yes. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
That's funny. Busted.
You're thinking Kate Hudson. I don't know. The actress.
I think that's who I was probably thinking about.
Daughter.
Yes. Oh, man.
Okay. All right.
How embarrassing.
That was great. Great. And then just as overall, I just really loved it. And as a side note, the title, The Royal We.
Yes.
Until Mallory, during it says, can we drop the royal we? I've never even thought about that.
Right.
How they speak in the plural, even when they mean I.
Right.
Royals say we. And it was like, duh. It was like a light bulb moment for me. So I've never really thought about it. So that made the title even, more appropriate in my mind because I wasn't even thinking that. So what about you? What did you think? Now that we've straightened out who Kate Middleton is.
I don't even know if I want to continue now. I, like you, loved the movie. I'm so glad they didn't cheese it up. You know what I mean? I was hoping that they wouldn't put those cheesy characters in like they've been doing. Loved the scenery. I loved the costumes. The acting was spot on. And even with the supporting cast, I thought they did a really good job.
Yes,
on all this.
I totally agree.
Yeah. And I too was thinking about like the royals, Princess Diana and stuff like that.
Yes, yes. I have some
Yeah.
notes about that too.
I
a little
figured
bit
you
later,
would.
but yeah.
We've watched so many documentaries that, yes,
Well, yes.
I figured we would because this movie really, really hit home or hit close to actually what's going on over there too. So what were some of your favorite scenes?
Favorite scene, the escape for a date is what I like to
that
call
was,
it.
that was pretty cool.
That was one of my favorite scenes. The whole night just worked. The purchase of the gear when the hat and then the sweatshirt, and he didn't have any money because he's a royal, and the pizza,
Yes,
the pizza night, and the bowling hustle. He hustled her.
That was funny.
That was
the way he
actually
acted
pretty
like,
good. So,
I don't know what bowling is.
So that whole night, and the pizza scene, I guess we can talk about that. I don't know if that's in your notes as one of your favorites or not.
I didn't have it in one of my favorites, but going back to the bowling thing, I wonder how many takes it took for him to get that strike twice.
Do you think it was really him getting the strike?
I think so.
You don't think it was edited?
I don't think so.
Could be. I don't know.
AI, who knows, right?
Out. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could have been him.
Maybe we could interview him.
Maybe he's a pro bowler and we just don't know it. Maybe
that would be funny.
That in my research. But the pizza scene, this is a personal thing between you and I. When we went to Las Vegas several years ago.
Oh my!
Yes,
goodness,
we were.
Yes.
We had been out all day, and we stayed in New York.
Yep.
And we didn't really eat that much that day, so we were hungry, and it was like 1:00 in the morning, and we went to one of their restaurants there. Right. Of course, it's New York, so they had a pizza joint.
Yes.
And we had the pizza, and we just had, it was such a small moment, but huge for us. It was just such a great, intimate night, and we were eating pizza. Here we are, not young anymore.
No, actually, it was my 50th birthday.
Your 50th birthday,
that you surprised me with.
And here we are just having pizza. It was probably one of the best parts of our trip. I mean, we had a lot of fun that trip, but it was just so cool. So that scene in the movie just really reminded me of that.
I know, and that pizza was delicious.
It was. It was
that slice
really,
of
really
pizza
good,
was
too.
good. You know what was funny is when we were in line and we had gotten the drink, they didn't fill it up. And when we got to the register, the lady at the register, she was like, "Did you drink that?" And I was like,
I forgot about that.
I was like, "No." She goes, "They didn't fill that up?" I'm like, "No, they didn't." She goes, "Let me fill that up for you," which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because they didn't fill it to the top. I mean,
No,
it was
they
probably
didn't.
about maybe 3 inches from the top.
We didn't notice because we were talking.
I know.
We got the
we were
drink
just
from
having
the
a good
guy,
time. But I thought it was cool that she
Yeah.
took notice of that.
So that was, I kind of consider that one of the scenes, even though it covered that whole,
Right.
There were different aspects to it, but I loved all the banter between the best friend and the prince's right-hand man.
Yes.
I thought that between her best friend, Chloe, and her right-hand, I just thought all of that back and forth, because she's so young and cute and quirky, and he's, more old, more stoic, more, because he's trying to keep things in line.
Right.
And he kind of gave it back to her, and I really, really like that.
Yeah, there was that one scene. I think it was not near the end, but close to it, where they're coming down the steps, and you have the news media off to the side, and they're asking questions. And she comes down, Chloe, and they're like, "Who are you? Are you, a family member?" And she's like, "Oh no, I'm the best friend." And they turned away and walked away from her. Yeah. And then that's when he came up and took her by the arm and walked her in. I thought that was pretty cool. That's, that was pretty nice of him.
I like that. What about you? I have a couple more notes for those, but you go ahead and tell me.
One of my favorite scenes was that dinner scene where they were all sitting around the table, and and King Richard and King Winston were going back and forth on each other, like
King Richmond.
Or Richmond, sorry, I said Richard.
Yeah.
Richmond. Where they were insulting each other and trying to one-up each other. And everybody sitting at a table was kind of like a tennis match. Their heads were going back and forth and back and forth. And I thought that was so funny.
Yes.
It just reminded me of a Wimbledon match. That's all.
A Wilmington match, yeah. Speaking of England, right?
And I also liked in that same scene when they brought out the whiteboard and they did the team building.
Yeah, the royals are just like us. They brainstorm. Right?
I know, right? That was so funny. That was a cool scene too. I liked how she gave them each a letter and they had to come up with a word, and then they had like the pros and cons, and they just kind of hashed it out. It was a team building thing, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, not team building, but bringing them together because they'd had this conflict for so long.
Well, it kind of reminded me of back to Return to Office with the team building thing.
Oh,
catch me if I fall back, catch me,
Yeah, because they did do that in this one too. You're right. I didn't even catch that.
See?
Look at you bringing it around. Back to Love-uary.
Love-uary. I might not know Kate Middleton, but I did catch some scenes. You know what I mean?
You did.
And what was another one of yours?
Just in general, we talked about it earlier. I had Princess Diana on my mind because the scene where Mallory goes to shake hands and she says, "I'm being authentically myself."
Yes.
And that was Princess Diana meeting the people where they were at, going to the hospitals.
Yes.
Just all of the charity work that she did. It just kind of reminded me of that. Of course, the hashtag, I don't know if you caught it, a princess for the people.
Yes.
That's in the movie. And Princess Diana was known as the people's princess.
Yes.
So I thought it kind of brought it back around to that. And also, did you know that Princess Diana's older sister dated Prince Charles?
What?
Before she did.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the movie, I guess. Her old Princess Beatrix B's older sister didn't date him. They were just put together like an arranged marriage because of the families. But but Princess Diana's older sister actually dated Prince Charles briefly. Yeah, just little trivia for you.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then
I didn't catch that.
There's the final scene when they're talking about the wedding chart.
Yes,
I don't know how much detail we want to give or not if you haven't seen it, but it was just I thought that was perfection. I really liked that scene.
I loved how they did.
So if you haven't seen it yet, we won't
spoil
give
it for
anything
you.
away, although we're talking about other scenes, but
But there are some Easter eggs.
There's some Easter eggs. Yep.
Easter eggs.
Yep. What about you? Did you have any other favorite scenes?
Yes, you just touched on it.
Yes.
Right. You touched on it a little bit. When they were pulling up to meet the people at the gate, and they get out of the car, and she grabs Prince Desmond by the arm, and I'm gonna be my authentic me, and she goes over and she's talking to him and saying hello and all that, and it did remind me of Princess Diana and the hashtags. Mm-hmm. I was going to mention that too, of all the different hashtags they had, the people's princess, and I loved when she opened the gate and the little girl came in and gave her a flower. Mm-hmm. I could just vision Princess Diana doing the exact same thing,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my other favorite scene. So what about you? What else?
Cool. That wraps it up for scenes for me. Should we move on to cheers and jeers?
Yes, let's do the cheers.
All right. What's your biggest cheer or cheers? What you got?
I'm going to go back to the when she meets the commoners, at the gate, but I'm not going to touch on that much right now. But I loved when the couple that they met at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people do you meet that are that, kind and stuff,
friendly
and and when he made that strike and he kind of just did the little dance, he said
the prince did.
Yeah. That was so funny.
Yeah,
that's cute. Something I would do too.
Yeah, definitely.
But I thought it was cool at the end when when that couple came down to get their mail, and when they opened up the mailbox, there was a invitation. And they were like, wow, who's this from? And when they opened it up, they realized it was the couple that they had met at the bowling alley.
Right.
And they had 2 first-class tickets to their wedding.
That was pretty cool.
That was my biggest cheer. What about you?
I loved, in my cheers section here, I didn't point out so much scenes, I guess, as general ideas. But I really liked that they didn't make the prince and princess antagonists.
Yes.
They're thrown together out of duty, but they don't hate each other.
Right.
They don't go at it for a little bit in terms of being, angry at each other or hate. I just thought that was a much more realistic view of 2 adults coming together for a common cause, even though they may not want to, but they do, and they end up having some fun along the way.
Yeah, and I was so glad they didn't. When she turned him down the first time, I'm so glad it didn't take that long to come back. When her sister called her, and her sister kind of said, I apologize. I didn't mean to throw you into this, but can you do this? And that's when she decided that she would go along and marry the prince.
When she would go ahead and
Yes.
go along with it. Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Because right.
Yeah.
I really liked that Princess Beatrix was a free spirit doing her own thing.
Yeah.
Again, it's sort of like Princess Diana, but she was more, they made her keep it to herself for a long
Yes.
time, which was an issue. But, she was allowed to go to America. She, he was too constrained by the job of being a prince.
Yes.
And so it seemed like he was sort of a free spirit waiting to get out and do some fun things, but had the obligation,
Right.
had prince obligations,
Well,
so to speak. So any
Duty
more
calls.
cheers from you?
Just, I love the Easter eggs at the end. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
So that was another cheer for me.
We talked about this a little earlier. All the witty quips throughout, just
Oh,
the
my
witty
goodness.
banter throughout the whole movie from several of the different characters, which I really enjoyed. I really liked that no one was trying to break them up
Yes.
or get in the way,
Right.
or anything like that. I thought that, like Mallory's parents, Princess Beatrix, Mallory, the actress, Princess Beatrix's parents, the king and queen, they were accepting of both daughters' choices with,
Yep.
Beatrix going to America, pursuing her own dream, even though she did not charitable work, but she had a foundation that
Yes.
helped girls.
Yeah.
Was
Her
it
and
the
Chloe.
Allied STEM Foundation?
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then, of course, her sister, she ended up marrying a commoner, so to speak. So I thought that theme came through and was great.
The plumber.
And then I just really liked the best friend,
Yeah, Chloe.
Chloe, she was great. She was quirky. She came in clutch when it was time to be serious.
Yes.
And, gave some serious advice to Princess Bee. And I thought that was great too. So she was like quirky and fun, but she brought it around town when it was time in terms
Oh,
of
my gosh.
being serious. And, when she said, you're the author of your own story, don't let others control your narrative.
Right.
And they had a talk and she was serious with her. And then they get on a moped. I mean, I just thought that the dichotomy of that was
moped
pretty
scene
fun
was
and
funny
cool.
too.
Right.
But she did, remember when at the beginning when they walked into the hotel to meet the prince for the first time, Chloe, they're walking in and she goes, "Are you sure you're a princess? Because you like box wine."
Oh,
You
that's
remember
right.
that?
She did. Yes.
Those are the type of, I thought it was so funny. And when they first met him in the hotel room, the looks on her face when they were going back and forth because they're two different families, the
Oh.
prince and princess.
When the princess and the prince
Yeah.
met in the hotel room for the first time, and Chloe is seeing
Yeah, her facial
her
expression.
authentic,
Yes.
her friend that she thought she knew really has an accent.
Yes, yes.
And
And another one was when the prince and the princess were in the service elevator, and he was kind of nervous of doing it for the first time, and he was like, "We're sneaking out for pizza, not nuclear secrets."
oh yeah,
Just
when
little thing
when the
quips like
elevator
that.
closed,
I thought
yeah,
that was
pretty cool.
or the fist bump where the bowling at the bowling alley, the couple when they're outside, he goes to fist bump the prince, but the prince opens up his hand and puts a flat hand on the fist like he didn't know how to fist bump.
He did not, right, because he's never.
So that was some of
before.
the cool things that I picked up on.
Anything else?
I like the hashtags and the
I thought
texting throughout the
yes,
movie.
yes, the social media part of it all.
Yes.
How social media can influence
Yeah. A relationship.
a relationship one way or the other.
Yeah.
And at first it was negative because she was falling, and then it did turn to positive, and you could tell that, a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't look at it. It doesn't bother me." But, she was looking at it.
Yes,
she liked it when the tide turned and went in her favor more because it makes you feel good. And
Yeah, no, I thought it was really, really cool.
it brought it modern.
The royal
modernized it for
hashtag
sure.
royal klutz when she,
Right.
when she tripped
fell-
down the
she
stairs.
fell down the stairs.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they came around. They always do,
Yeah.
right? They always
Yeah,
do.
I agree.
There was one other thing, and I don't know if you noticed it, but I was going to say something when Chloe and the princess were, I think they were at lunch or something, and they were talking about the prince, and they talked about all his pictures, and I was like, man, them pictures look like they were on green screen. But later on, when she was with the prince, he brought that up, or she brought it up, and he was like, "Oh, those were all shot on green screen." I was like, vindicated,
right.
yes.
That's right. When she was showing her the pictures.
Yeah, the polo and the golf and all that stuff.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, you have anything else?
What about jeers? Biggest jeer for you?
My biggest jeer is at the end. I didn't see Chloe at the end.
Yeah, you said you really wanted her to loop back around. I don't know why they didn't have her in that scene, honestly, at the very end.
Because they had the couple at the bowling alley.
Yes, they got
the Easter eggs.
scene there.
And they didn't have her, and they made such a big deal for her to be there. And they didn't have his right-hand man. I don't want to call him the butler either, but his assistant.
Oh, right.
He
wasn't in there either. But, I mean, I guess you have to presume that Chloe went back home for a while while Princess B stayed.
Because she's supposed to be the maid of honor.
Planned her wedding. Yeah.
So, all right. What about you?
If I had to pick a jeer, I guess it would just be the arranged marriage thing. the whole arranged marriage. I mean, I know they were doing it out of duty, but it's like, I don't know. Today, maybe the royals still, some royal families still do that. I'm sure it does exist.
Yeah.
In some countries, but I just was like, well, if I have to pick something, I would say arranged marriages, especially, with women today. They're
I agree
too strong-willed. And
I agree with you. So, you want to rate it?
Yeah, let's go. Out of corks, how many corks out of 5 do you give this one?
I'm going to give it a 5. I just really enjoyed it, and I'm glad they didn't cheese it up.
No, they didn't cheese it up. I thought it was.
It gets a 5.
It gets a 5 corks from me too.
Woo, we're on the same page. Yes, I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So, is that a wrap for it?
That's a wrap
for this episode.
That'll do.
Okay then. Well, thanks for listening. Be sure to follow the podcast wherever you listen so you don't miss one. Also, follow us on social media if you really, really like the show and are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Leave a 5-star review. And if you didn't really, really like the show, leave a 5-star review anyways.
Join us next Wednesday for our review of The Reluctant Royal, which airs Saturday night, March 8th, 2025 on the Hallmark Channel and streams the next day on Hallmark Plus. Until then, fill up your glasses and push play. Thanks for listening.
Cheers.